What's up everyone, Vu of NVU Films, and I am back with another idiotic video for you to watch. And today I will be talking about the Freewell, aka Made in China, Variable ND X mist filters, which is pretty much a diffusion filter combined with a variable ND filter for your cinematic douchebag camera that you own. Before I get into the nitty gritty, in terms of what a mist filter, does for your video, I'm gonna just go ahead and right off the bat address those of you who are familiar with what mist filters does. And I'm gonna tell you that these are very good filters and I highly recommend you buy these over other competing brands because it is high quality. There is a little bit of color cast, which pretty much when you have an ND filter, you can never avoid any type of color cast. And the overall quality of the diffusion is really good. And the overall quality of the glass, the filter, and what comes with this is excellent. With that being said, I want to address the actual competitor, the only competitor that I know of for a variable ND plus mist filter from Freewell is actually the Peter McKinnon variable ND and mist filter. That's pretty much the only other competitor in terms of variable ND and mist combined in one filter. To be as honest as possible, which is what I try to do on this channel, is just to give you my straight up opinions and honesty out of products I talk about here. When you buy the Peter McKinnon ones, you're gonna get a very high quality product. There's no doubt about it. I love Peter McKinnon's videos. I enjoy watching his stuff. I find him very inspirational for me. I probably wouldn't even have a YouTube channel if it wasn't for Peter McKinnon. He is great. He should be inspirational to everybody. But the fact of the matter is, there is a lot of branding involved with his I would love to have my own VND, all right? My name is Vu Nguyen. VN would be my initials and D would be whatever I'm selling. So I would love to have my VND, Vu Nguyen D. I would love to sell some Vu Nguyen D for all of you to have and enjoy. And unfortunately, that would probably make me a huge skank if I was selling VND everywhere. But with that being said, this is the older version of Peter McKinnon's variable ND that I bought. I bought two of these, and hey, I am not going to sit here and tell you that this is a horrible product. I bought two of Peter McKinnon's variable ND filters, and the reality is this: this is what you're paying for. This is the extra $100 to $150 you're paying for. You're paying for this box. Okay, this is just the box of his, and you're gonna take this off. And then this is all magnetized. I mean, this is a very beautiful presentation, which is why I didn't throw this away. Like, I have the ND filter. Why haven't I thrown away this box? Because this box is just so nice and it's just sitting in my closet, wasting space. But I just feel bad for throwing it away. This nice magnetized box. You got like this picture here. This metal case that clearly I'm not even using. It's just sitting in the box in my closet. That's what you're paying $150 for. Whereas the Made in China Freewell, actually, let me double check something. Is this also made in China? Is this Peter McKinnon one made in China? Well, shocker of the century, made in hometown China. So, both of these are made in China. It's just one has Peter McKinnon's name and face plastered all over it. Fantastic. Like again, I don't hate the hustle, and I'd love to sell me some VNDs myself, but I'm not at that level, probably never will be. That's fine. I don't mind getting these lower end products to tell you guys about it so you could buy it for a cheaper price and it performs exactly the same. This particular kit I was sent from Freewell. Freewell sent me this kit to review. They said, hey, look, Vu, we like your douchebag channel. You are small, like your junk. We like your content. We'd like you to review our variable ND filter with mist. And let's just go through what I have. I have two. I have the 2 to 5 and I think the 6 to 9 stop. Both versions come with this nice metal case. Very good quality tin feeling case. No complaints there. And the filter itself is very nice. It's high quality build. I have absolutely no complaints with this filter, and to be honest, it's comparable to the Peter McKinnon ND filters. And when you move the when you go through the stops, you get a really nice hard click every time. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but overall, high quality piece of glass. I'm already putting test footage out there for you to see, and the footage turned out great. Again, I have Peter McKinnon's Generation 1 ND filter, and his Generation 1 ND filter does not have the clicks, but the new one does. But this is a very high quality filter too. No complaints here, but if you're looking at them and you were to tell me that one is $100 to $150 more than the other, and then you look at the footage, you look at the color cast, you look at everything it has to offer, vignetting, whatever, and it just makes a no-brainer decision that the Freewell is the one you should buy. And again, I bought this myself. I have no ill will towards Peter McKinnon. He is amazing, like I keep on telling you guys, but the reality is you're paying for the branding. I mean, of course, when you're shooting a YouTube douchebag video and you have this Peter McKinnon gold on your camera lens, you're gonna look like the hot thing. And then you have this one on, it's like, yo, what is that one? That's Freewell. What the heck is Freewell? Is it from China where they don't have any drinking water over there, some village, and they need a free well to drink water from? I don't know, but this is a very high quality piece of glass, and I highly recommend it to you. Another thing that these filters come with are these magnet covers, so you don't have to use like whatever lens cap you have, whatever it is that you're going to use to cover the filter. This thing, you can just use the magnet and it clicks right on, and from my testing, it's pretty stuck. I mean, it's not, of course, it's harder for me to take off now because this is off a lens, but when this is attached to a lens, it's very easy to take off. But as you can see, it's a very strong magnet, and it, without the filter being on a lens, it's actually very hard to take off. With that being said, review's out the way. The diffusion is great. If I were to compare the diffusion with like something more familiar, like a Tiffin Black Pro Mist, it is closer to 1/4 diffusion than it is 1/8. It's probably a little bit, it's probably not as intense as the 1/4 diffusion, but it's pretty close to the 1/4. It's definitely more intense than the 1/8 diffusion from Tiffin Black Pro Mist, which I'm actually using now to film this video. Now, for those of you who do not know what a diffusion filter is and why you should use a diffusion filter, I'm going to explain to you right now. When you have a camera such as the Sony a7S III, Sony a7 III, Sony a7R4, or any Canon or whatever, you're going to be using a lot of photo lenses, very new, very high-tech lenses that has autofocus and are known for just great image quality, great sharpness, and all that stuff. With that comes an issue, especially when you're shooting video or you're trying to do something filmic or cinematic, or you're trying to film that YouTube douchebag slow motion montage. It could look digital, and the reason why it may look digital is because highlights that come in to the camera sensor is not diffused, and you get that a lot with imperfect lenses such as vintage glass, or a lot of cinema lenses probably already have some type of, I don't know if cinema glass has any type of diffusion on it, but generally speaking, it looks a little softer, it looks a little bit less harsh to the eye. And that is what diffusion filters do for your footage. Not only does it soften highlights, especially like on your face, it also blooms highlights. So in the process of softening, diffusing the highlights, you also get this bloom, as you see right now on those two lights I have in the back, versus without it, you don't have any diffusion, you don't have any bloom, and it's just like this harsh light that can make things look a little bit digital or a little bit not as cinematic and filmic, and that's what a diffusion filter does for you. And if you are like a wedding filmmaker, if you are a documentary shooter, or if you're shooting any type of film and you're using these lenses that are more high-tech, newer, where like image quality is like top-notch sharpness, I highly recommend diffusion filters. The one I've always been recommending is a Tiffin Black Pro Mist. I'll link the video to my review and my thoughts on those here. But The problem is, obviously, there's no ND on it. So if you want to remain the 180-degree shutter rule when you're going out into the sunlight and you still want to have nice motion blur, then you want to use ND filter so you could still shoot wide open f1.8, f1.4, f2, f2.8, and still be able to, stay within that 180-degree shutter angle, which is, 1/50 if you're shooting 24 frames per second, 1/120, 125 depending on your camera. When you're shooting 60 frames, pretty much you're just doubling up that shutter speed with the frame rate. Now, before this, you would have to take a separate ND filter and pluck it onto your Tiffin Black Pro Mist or any other diffusion filter you have. But with these newer ND and mist filters built in, it's a no-brainer to make sure you have one of these in your kit. With that being said, again, I highly recommend this Freewell ND plus mist versus the Peter McKinnon ones, just because it is like less than half the price and it does the same exact thing at the same quality, and you're still getting the same quality piece of kit, as well as a very nifty magnet attachment. Probably a bad example, but nice little magnet attachment. And anyways, guys, with that being said, highly recommend these Freewell ND Mist filters if you're looking for diffusion and ND combined for your video making needs. Until next time, as always, lighten up.